Welcome back from break, everyone. If everyone could take their seats so we can move on to our next session. I am so excited and so pleased to be able to introduce our next presenter. Deb Tack is the executive director of Susquehanna Service Dogs. And it feels like a lifetime ago, but I think it might have only been a year ago we connected. And ever since then, she's been sending me all the people that don't want to listen about service animals. And I have to give them the hard speech about what they have to do, which is working out pretty good, I think. We've also done some things together, going out proactively and trying to get the message out as to why service animals are so important and why folks really need to accommodate folks that have them. Let me tell you a little bit about Susquehanna Service Dogs. They breed, raise, and train and place assistance dogs, hearing dogs, and facility dogs to assist children and adults with disabilities to build confidence, to increase their independence, and lead the lives they want to live. A program of Keystone Human Services is credited by Assistance Dogs International and serves the Mid-Atlantic region of the US. Deb has served as the executive director since 2020. And before stepping into the leadership role, she worked as the partner coordinator, supporting people through the assistance dog application process and for the lifetime of their partnership with their assistance dog. She started her relationship with SSD as a puppy raiser, and I certainly hope you do a shameless plug for that because I know you need some help. And she has raised dogs, 5 dogs herself. So I give you Deb Tack and her wonderful assistant, and enjoy.
Good morning. I don't know, is this working? Okay, so I am notoriously a soft talker, so hopefully this works for me. First, I would like to introduce you to Lane. Lane is about 2 years old. She is a Lab Golden Cross. She is part of our swim team litter, so she's named for the lane in a pool. She's super sweet. And just as a disclaimer, I know sometimes doing talking or doing a session, being on TV with dogs and children, people might caution against that, but we'll see how it goes. Lane and I have been working together since we parked in the parking garage. So we would like a little bit of grace. But one of the things I'd like to say that's really cool about that is that people ask us is, what types of dogs do you use? And the reason we use the breeds that we use, which are Labradors and Golden Retrievers, is that they transfer really easily from person to person. So a dog will stay with their volunteer puppy raiser for the first 2 years of their life, and then they'll go with their partner who they're going to work for the remainder of their career. And so the dog has to transfer really easily. So Lane and I are going to show you how that works, I hope. I have a clicker, but now I don't know where I put it. Hold on. No. Okay. I also don't know how to use this clicker, so I'm just putting it all out there. I don't 100% know what I'm doing. All right. So welcome to learning a little bit about Susquehanna Service Dogs. One of the things I like to say is because of we have over 600 volunteers. And so without them, we could not do what we do. We are a staff of about 11 full-time employees and 7 part-time. So as you'll see here in this picture, I always think this is really cool. This is one of our team trainings. So it is our partners receiving their dogs, and then they go and they get to meet the person who raised the dog that they will now have. So this is one of our meetings of that. And I just think it's so cool to see all those people that it takes, and that's only a little smidgen of it, that it takes to be able to have a dog be a service dog. All right, so I feel like Heather stole some of my slides, but Susquehanna Service Dogs is part of Keystone Human Services. So Keystone Human Services has been around for 50 years. We have Capital Area Head Start. We have an intellectual disability program. There are autism services. There are mental health services. We have a number of group homes throughout Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New Jersey. We also have a program in Moldova and one in India. So we are part of a very long established organization, and Susquehanna Service Dogs itself has been around for 30 years. Heather mentioned Assistance Dogs International, and to me, this is something that's really important when we're talking about individuals who have assistance dogs. So ADI is a worldwide coalition of assistance dog programs. So that means there's over 120 nonprofits in 23 countries around the world. We have been accredited for almost 20 years, and every 5 years, we undergo a pretty rigorous reaccreditation process. It also means that we're part of a breeding cooperative. So that means that that's how we stay genetically diverse. And that is how a number of our dogs come to us. We exchange breeding dogs with other programs. What do we do? So I think this probably affects all of you most. One of the things I love about SSD is that we really customize the training of our dogs. So many programs will blanket train. So there will be a dog that learns 20 different cues or tasks, and then that dog everybody would get the same dog to do the same type of thing. So I will use Heather as an example. So if Heather were to need a dog and I were to need a dog, our dogs would know all the same cues. But Heather and I aren't the same, right? We are individuals. Our disability might look different. What we do in our life might look different if we're going out to, if we are employed and going out into the workplace, or what if we are a student? What if we are retired? So there's so many different things. So the dog needs to be trained specifically for that person. And what that allows us to do is we do train a variety of different types of assistance dogs. We train mobility dogs. So that's a dog that would wear a hard harness and help somebody with their stability or their gait. We also train dogs to assist individuals who use a power or manual wheelchair, or we have a couple of partners, that's what we call our clients, who utilize arm crutches. We also train psychiatric service dogs. We train them for veterans and non-veterans. And what we've learned is there are a lot of programs out in the world who train dogs for veterans, which we love. All of our veterans are fantastic. But what we learned is that there really are a lot of people in our community who have suffered PTSD for other reasons, whether they were abused as a child, perhaps they had a medical trauma and they have PTSD from that. And we really always have wanted to be able to support those individuals in our community as well. We train autism service dogs, so both for youth and adults. We train hearing dogs. We train seizure response dogs. We do not have the expertise of training for medical alert. So we have gone to doing seizure response, which is to help during or after a seizure. We also train facility dogs. So we have dogs that work throughout our service area, which is a 4-hour radius from Grantville. And they work in a variety of different places. They work in courthouses, they work in schools, they work in hospitals. We have 2 dogs at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. We also have dogs in Cumberland County, Lancaster County, York County, and some other people who are Clinton County, and some other people and facilities who are awaiting dogs. We also, so not all dogs say, hey, I want to be a service dog, because it's pretty hard work. So we have some dogs who are in-home service dogs. And the example I always like to give of that is we had a Vietnam veteran that came in and he said, I have seizures. So I can't go out by myself. I am no longer have my driver's license. And so I always go with my wife. And he goes, I'm not so sure I need to take a dog with me when I do that. But what we worry about most is when my wife leaves and I'm at home by myself. Perfect. An in-home service dog is a perfect thing for him. So when his wife goes out, she feels much better that the dog's with him. The dog had been with him, I'm pretty sure, less than a month. And she went to, he says, have lunch with the lady friends at church. And she came back and he had a seizure while she was gone. And usually she would come in and he would be frightened and he would be disoriented. And he laughed and he goes, she came in and I was like, hey, guess what? I had a seizure. And she was like, okay, like, are you okay? And he goes, I'm okay because my dog was with me. So, right, that was just such a wonderful thing that a dog could do to be with him as he was after his seizure. We also train companion dogs. So what those dogs do is there is an individual in the family who has an identified disability, but the dog is for the whole family. So all the dogs we've been talking about up until now are for an individual. So the companion dog provides, it has learned all of its basic puppy cues in puppy raising. So it has already learned about 25 different cues. She really wants me to ask her to do something, which is not laying down. Good girl, good girl. So the companion dog can assist that child or adult in the home, but it also can help the rest of the family members, because we know that life in general can be an exhausting thing. So being able to have that dog help everyone in the family. A lot of our families with children will say that it's the first time their child has slept in their bed all night. And if you are a parent, you know that the value of that is exceptionally high. So the one person said, this is the first time in 10 years we have actually slept through the night. So companion dogs are fantastic. What we do not do, so we do not train guide dogs because that is not a specialty that we train in. We don't train medical alert dogs, which we had already talked about. And we do not train, nor is there training for emotional support animals. Therapy dogs, some of our career change dogs do become therapy dogs, working with their owner within some type of setting, like visiting nursing homes or maybe visiting a hospital. I'm used to asking someone else to click my slides. All right, so what happens at SSD? So we have about 140 dogs in our program at any one time. And most of them are with puppy raisers. So I'm going to say about 110 of them are usually with puppy raisers. And what that puppy raiser is doing, again, is starting from the time the puppy is 9 weeks old. They come to class every week for 9 weeks. And then from there, they come about every other week till the dog comes into our professional kennel. We have about 20 dogs in our professional kennel at any one time. We also have our breeding dogs. So they are dogs that we have evaluated and decided that we like their temperament. They have passed all of their health clearances, and we are excited for them to hopefully make more service dogs. So about 45 to 50% of our dogs become working service dogs. So what happens to the rest of them? We have about 20 to 25 dogs placed every year with that type of job. We have about 6 dogs that are career changed to be canine detection dogs. We work really closely with the CIA, and we have 2 dogs at the United Nations. I can't see at the bottom of that slide, but I'm going to say that it says if they do not choose that as a career, they become a VIP, a very important pet. And that means that someone, either the puppy raiser or someone from the public, is able to adopt them. You'll see up there at the top in that picture, that's our graduation. So that's where the puppy raisers on the right, they are passing the leash over to the partner who received the dog. And if you ever want to see something or you think you need a good cry, grab a box of tissues and come join us, because it's just such a fabulous day to see all the partnerships that have been formed. Volunteers, Heather said this, we are always looking for volunteers. I know we said we have over 600, but we have lots of work to do. So our greatest need is puppy raisers and puppy sitters. If you ever think you want to be a puppy raiser or a puppy sitter, I'll make sure Heather help you be able to take your dog to work. Maybe not, but I'll work on it really hard. I do take a dog with me to work every day, but people say that doesn't count. So yeah, so puppy raisers, I told you a little bit about what they do, but we also really need puppy sitters. So that's for someone who's not quite ready to make the full jump into having a dog full-time in their home and raising them. A puppy sitter takes a dog on the weekend, or maybe a puppy raiser goes away for a week or so, and they watch them, which is based on their schedule. So you receive an email, it'll say, hey, Fluffy needs a sitter from August 5th to the 10th, and then people will say if they're able to watch them. So it's kind of like part-time. It's really great. It helps our dog experience new environments, because one day they will go live in someone's home who is not their puppy raiser. We also do all kinds of other things. Do you like to drive? You can transport a puppy to just about anywhere down the Eastern Seaboard. We do 2x2, which is little tiny puppies, little 7-week-old puppies that come to your house in twos, that come spend a night or a couple nights and get exposed to a new environment. We do landscaping. We have people who do clerical work. We have all kinds of great things. So if you think you have any interest in volunteering, you would definitely be changing someone's life. And that you can find on our website, which is susquehannaservicedogs.org. I always have to do a plug for that. Okay, so do you think this video is going to work? We're going to try it. Okay, so I think if I click this, will it come up? Well, we're going to try it. Let's see what happens. Nope. Hold on. If not, I will just tell you the story myself, but the video is really nice. Okay. Oh, wait. Hopefully, oh yeah, you don't want to watch the commercial. I don't know why that's on there. hold on, we're gonna get the sound. First of all, just look at those cute puppies. They're adorable. That is not the sound. It's okay if there's a technical difficulty because I can tell it too, but they just say it way better than I do. Wow, they're figuring that out just in case, but that's what I was thinking. It might be that mute. That was my guess. Oh yeah, there it is.
Since I had Tyrod in my life, he does give me my independence back and my confidence.
He has been my constant companion, he keeps me upright. I have not fallen since I have received Moses. It's amazing to see what dogs can be trained to do to provide for my family. And for me, that's why I really love long term.
Jimmy just came over me on sound, like knocking on the door, the timer, fire alarm, she'll show me where the sound is located, by those probably are moving.
To see the person later and see the change and the true team they become and the confidence in both of them. It just was like, this is why we do this.
When you really see how much impact.
I think it just shows really like how a dog can truly give someone independence. Her goal when she came and for her interview was to not have to live with her sister. And then from there, which by the way, they don't live together anymore, which makes them both they're like, we are young girls. I'm like, I got it. Right, she was able to get her first job. She said she started as a casual employee. She got hired full-time. She got a promotion, and all because, not just because she had the dog, but also because we taught her how to teach her dog. Did you see how she taught that dog to take a little tiny paper clip off a stack of papers? She did that. We didn't do that. We taught her how to teach more things. You know what? Figure out what you need, and you teach the dog to do even more things than they already know. So I just think it's a really great story. And we have so many stories from our partners, from our veterans who are able to, I just had a veteran who got a dog, and he went on his first vacation with his family. And he has young kids, and he had never been able to do that. And this was the first summer they could go to the beach together. That is just such a valuable gift. Also, we have, I have an individual who is on the, has autism, and he received his first dog when he was 12, and he's now in his 20s. And he is able to, he will tell us he never would have made it out of middle school. He will say, I wouldn't be walking this earth if I hadn't had this dog, because he was very much bullied. And but he's gone on, he got his bachelor's degree, he has his master's degree. He is a professor at James Madison teaching communication, which we always joke about because of his diagnosis. He's like, isn't it funny? Because I have autism and I'm teaching people how to communicate. I'm like, that's right, you did it. But right, all of those things, he's gotten married. He is just able to share so much with everyone he comes in contact with. And again, that is because he has a dog. It's so amazing what they can do. I'm wondering how much time I have, because Lane's going to show some things to you, I think. Are we good? Okay, so Lane, like I said, just came into our professional kennel, met in the parking garage, and so now she's going to show you some things that she knows. So let's see how we do. We use positive reinforcement, so we use primarily a clicker or a verbal marker, and then this tells her that she did something great, and then she gets a reward. So yes, I have a whole pouch of food, but it's pretty boring food because it's just her breakfast, so it is just kibble, but she loves it a whole lot. So let's start with some things she knows how to do. So she is able to, hey, Lane, good girl. Lane, good girl, ready? Yeesh. Good girl. That is like the best thing. I find that so helpful. Fix. Good girl. She knows how to untangle her foot. She can pick all kinds of things up. So she can pick up, if I drop my wallet, pick it. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. She can pick up my, although your medicine always has to be in a secure bottle, I like to tell people. She can pick that up. Good girl. Oh. Good girl. Obviously, she would do that all day. So they can pick something up as small as a quarter or as big as we have some partners who need help when they're grocery shopping, so they can pick up like a can of beans, something off a shelf. She also knows how to, practicing this. Let's see if it works. So she can push a door button. Good girl, good girl. Want to do it again? Okay. Good girl. She's like, I'll do that. I'll do that. So our dogs learn some very physical tasks. People ask how long they work. I'd say usually about 8 to 10 years, depending on how physical their job is. So they can also open doors with a strap. They can do a lot of things like that. They also know how to do different tasks that help with PTSD or anxiety. So let's see what you know, girlfriend. That's what you know. Hold on, I'm backing up. Is it good girl? All right. So for example, say my sign of that I am getting anxious or getting worried about something would be that I tap my leg. So I start tapping my leg, and then she would come up, she'd put her head in my lap. Good girl. And then that would signal to me that a lot of times, if you're nervous, maybe you don't realize you're tapping your foot, or you don't realize you're wringing your hands. But if she lets me know that, then I can use her. She knows a lot of other things she can do to help me. So one of the things she knows how to do is, she knows how to, we call this lap. So she can do that. And what that does is it's obviously some very nice deep pressure, and also lets me interact with her. She's super soft. She's so sweet. Good girl. Good girl. Very nice. Very good girl. Let's see. Down, place. Yeah. So this is a way not only just to help your dog tuck out of the way, but it's also really nice if she had done that and shown me that maybe I was getting anxious, I could do this, and its lap is a little intrusive, right? A little more obvious to people, but here she literally just looks like she's sitting at my feet. Good girl. And I'd be able to interact with her. Good girl. You're so sweet. I don't just use the clicker, obviously. Okay. Now I've heard that she knows this, and let's see if I can get down and get back up. So other things, forms of deep pressure they can do are things like, she has a good girl. So like this would be more deep pressure, right? Because I have the floor underneath me. Good girl. They use this a lot in schools, but I found too, we have some partners who have some difficulty with their circulation, and they say that a dog laying across their lap like this helps increase their circulation. So maybe they're walking through a store and they're starting to feel faint, and they'll sit down on the floor and have the dog come across their lap this way to help them with that. You're such a good girl. You're so sweet. There's another one called squish, but I'm not going to do that, but I like to say it because it sounds fun. It's where I lay down on the floor and then she'll lay across me, but then I definitely won't get back up. So other things they can do out in public, either for our individuals with autism or someone who maybe has PTSD, is they can create space. So one of the things that's really important to us is that this is never something that's protective. So our dogs are not, under ADI standards, allowed to do something that is seen to be kind of like more aggressive, right, or protective. So they're of course taught to heel, so she knows how to heel. So that would give me space on my left side. And then they are taught to do the same on the right, or they can come to the front. Girl, stay, stay. Just to give me a little bit of space. So this would help for a number of different things. First of all, to give me some space, say I'm in a crowd, but also say I feel reluctant to interact with the public and I don't like when people come into my space. She really helps create a bubble around me where what helps me feel comfortable. And I would say too, the things about service dogs is their tasks are, I think of it as a cupcake. So their tasks are like the cake part, right? So she can open a door, she can pick things up, she can do deep pressure, but then there's always the icing. That's the sweet part. So the sweet part is that she makes me feel better being with me, right? So not a task, but something that makes me feel better. But she also can help me engage with the public. If I were someone who felt hesitant to either interact with my coworkers or to maybe talk to someone in a store, a dog can really help you do that. And though it's not a task, it really does help kind of fill someone up, right? Fill your cup, but also be able to engage with other people. I think I would like to see if anyone has any questions. Yes.
Wait, hold on,
Oh,
hold on.
there's a
hold on.
microphone. Hold on.
All questions with the mic.
Sorry about that. My name is Todd Schwartz from the PHRC Philadelphia office. Do you ever work with any shelters or rescue agencies?
That is a great question. So our program does not. There are some Assistance Dogs International programs that do. What we have learned is that, of course, rescuing dogs is such a great thing. But what we have learned is that those dogs, in order to be eligible to be rescued, they had to have experienced some type of trauma, whether that could be as minimal as someone surrendered them, but they lost their home and they lost what they are used to and what they've always lived with. And so we don't, just because we find that that's, especially if you're training a dog for someone with PTSD or anxiety or any of those kinds of disabilities, a dog who may become anxious or who we don't know their triggers might not be beneficial for them. That is a really good question. In the back, in the front, inside.
So I see that the dog is kind of like, I mean, my perception with my son, he's autistic.
Mhm.
So I see that the dog is kind of high strung and it's kind of like giving me anxiety for like when I do get my service dog for my son.
Yes.
It's like, is it because of the treats? Is it because she's young? Is it because she's at a conference, or is that how she was trained to
That is,
do it?
first of all, that is a very perceptive observation, and I appreciate that. So we would say all of the dogs in our kennel, in our program, kind of like all of us in this room, everyone is kind of meant for a different job. So yes, I don't know what Lane will be, but what I think she'll be is a dog who has a whole lot more tasks, right? Because I would agree, I don't necessarily find her relaxing. But because you know why? Because she's so ready to work. So the person she's going to be matched with is either going to be someone who needs a lot of tasks and probably physical tasks. So like picking things up, opening doors, doing a lot of things that are physical for her. But also, or maybe it is because she is super loving. She could end up working perhaps in a facility where you're going from person to person. So something to keep her busy because she's young, but you're right? Like she definitely has a higher energy. But I'll tell you, a lot of our dogs aren't like that. So we just try to match who they go with the best. But that was a really good question.
Hello, I'm Kurt Young. I work for the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission, and my son has a service dog.
Mhm.
And we've been thrown out of restaurants. We've been told we can bring the dog in certain
You should be
places.
calling the
Landlords.
PHRC.
Landlords
You
have
don't
told
do
us
that.
we're not renting to you. I'm curious, how do you train your clients on how to handle those situations in the immediate situation?
That's fantastic, because we actually just finished team training and we had a number of partners in that training who definitely struggle when they go in public. And so we practice. We start with the easiest thing. We start with just someone coming up and saying, "May I pet your dog?" And you just say, "Nope, they're working," and you keep on walking. And then we work up to something that's more complex. So someone who maybe says they want to pet your dog and doesn't want to stop. Then we go to public access, because that is one of the most stressful things that our partners encounter. And so we just, again, we start with something really easy. You walk up to the desk, someone says, "I'm sorry, you can't come in with that dog." And so we practice, what do you say, right? "This is my service dog. My dog is trained to do whatever." They usually name 2 or 3 tasks. And then we will have the person let them in. And then the next time we do something harder. And it is one of our partners will say it's one of the hardest things they face. We are so fortunate because, as Heather said, literally, I will just email her and I'm like, "Hold on, I need help." Or I give them the number to call in to make a complaint. But we try to not get to that point. Our partners have our 24-hour number, so they can call us and we can talk to someone who's the owner, like, of a restaurant or a store. But we do always, if it comes to where we need to access the Human Relations Commission, we do. Did that answer your question? It's just practice, 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 practice. I do have a couple of people, it just made me think, because one of our partners that just got a dog, she definitely had struggles with that and being asked a question and feeling she's confronted. So her parents made her a card. And so what she does, it has the law on it. And then it also has what the tasks are trained, because she started to get flustered where she couldn't answer those 2 questions. Is that a service dog? And how is it trained to assist you? So she has that, so she can use 2. So that's kind of a tool we've put in her toolbox.
Hi, is there a cost for people associated with getting a service dog?
Those are
And
so
if
good.
so, is it covered by insurance, or how does that work?
Oh, the land of insurance. I wish so much it was covered by insurance, but sadly it is not. So for us at Susquehanna Service Dogs, it costs us about $40,000. So from start to finish for a dog, and providing that lifetime support for the team's whole partnership. Our fee for service is $5,000. However, there is a caveat to that. Any veteran who applies for a dog, we have donors who have given money for that veteran to receive the dog free of charge, as long as they have the means to care for the dog once it is placed. And then we also have a sliding scale. So if there's an individual with a limited income, we gather some financial information from them and we are able to award a sponsorship to help them with that fee.
Hi. I guess my question would be, for people who use their own pets and go into establishments and say that they're service dogs, do you find that's creating barriers for the legit service dogs that you're training?
I say absolutely, because I had a partner who had a hard time at a flea market, and I have talked to the owner on 2 occasions, and he said, you don't understand the position I'm in. And I think because it's a flea market, I think more people are apt to try to take a dog in. And he said, I've had people's dogs be attacked. I've had people be growled at. And I said, but were those service dogs? And he said, no. This is in Maryland, by the way, not Pennsylvania. Oh yeah, just so you know. But he said, well, no, they weren't. And he said, so now he just opts to say no. And I said, well, you can't do that. You can't say no to everybody. So I've been working on him with a little bit of education, but it definitely is, it does make it harder. And you know what? People have very well-trained pets that could do fabulous at the flea market or going into Lowe's, but some people don't. And then that's where you run into something unfortunate.
Any more questions out there? Okay, Deb, we'd like to present you with a little something, so give us a second to get back up there
I'll give
and
you a second.
we'll be,
And
oh,
I
there's a
have-
question, I'm sorry.
I say,
There's-
I also have a like flyer from us. If there's any, if you want to take one, feel free. I'll set them out. If you'd like to just find out more, you can visit our website.
She wanted to know if they have to wear the tag. They don't have, or the vest.
So
and-
it's, well, yeah, so under the Americans with Disabilities Act, they do not, there is not a place to register a service dog. They don't even actually